Pi, an update on some on the modules. Most of these things you see here is fitting to the GPIO of the Raspberry Pi, like here. And here we have it again. These are screens. There are different solutions for screens, but we will come into some trouble, or at least we have to test it, depending on what sort of things you want to connect to the Raspberry Pi. For instance, this one. We could connect this one now, and again we could see that it fits on the other side, no problem, with just one single module. Again, if you have this battery solution and you want to try to put this on here for extending, you will start to get problems on the other side. Maybe it can be a little bit inside, so there is no guarantee that these modules actually, even though they technically should fit, also fits, because as you see here, the space, there is not much left between the battery and the pins. Shall we just try it? And then you can see this is very tight. And it maybe works once, but then again, if you have to change the battery, and this battery anyway doesn't last so long, and this battery anyway maybe can't supply this chip, because this GSM chip takes up to 2 amperes in bursts. So there are some challenges, and then again, operating without the battery inside, this one maybe it's a little bit big, takes a little bit much space away. Then to the screens, that could fit. Normally this screen, for instance, this is a Waveshare 3-inch something, and it's a touch screen, and it has an HDMI output here, and the Raspberry has an HDMI input. So the idea with this is to plug it in, and then on the other side to connect these two with this adapter. That's wonderful if nothing is in between, but suddenly, you know, you can't put any module up here. Suddenly you want something like this in between, then you can't use this anymore because it's too short. You will probably have to make a cable. So this screen is actually not so good, even it's nice from the size. And then you will probably go over to something like this. It has another smaller resolution. It's from Adafruit, but I mean it's a screen, and it has input and output on the back side. So here you can actually, I think, go on from one module to the next one with a cable at least. And this actually fits nice here, and maybe even on this one we can put it, and it would it transfers the signal through these GPIOs and not through HDMI, and that makes it more suitable, even though the screen's resolution and the size is smaller than this Waveshare. It actually fits better into the project, and it has buttons up front for different stuff, and you can probably program it also. This is an can you read it? Okay, I'll read it loud. It's a 2.8 inch 320 times 240 TFT touchscreen for Raspberry Pi. So that's just a little story about these things, these components, and maybe it's possible to do something like this module here and this here, and then a screen, and it could maybe work, and then you have to power supply the GSM module separate, and this is somehow plug and play, and I don't know if it could work. It's quite a big thing, and the batteries could be a small battery in here, but it will not last more than an hour, so it's just for uninterruptible power supply, and this is this one. Well, with just a Raspberry Pi, it can last for 1.5 until 2 hours with no load, and with a Raspberry Pi Zero instead of the Pi, it will actually last longer, double so long. But with the GSM and the screen, this battery will not last very long. So probably you have to make some thing with some of these in parallel. Yes. And the next thing about the Raspberry Pi Zero is that the Raspberry Pi Zero can run on not 5 but can run on 3.3 volt. So using the Raspberry Pi Zero, this is the number 3 plus, using the Raspberry Pi Zero, you would have to find and this is, I have ordered, comes this week, a different power supply than this one. Different power supply, more or less the same size, that can deliver power up, power down, whatever you power it, more or less. It gives out 3.3 volt, and you can use 3.3 volt for the Pi Zero. Not shown here, Pi Zero not shown here. Okay, that's about the modules. Yeah, bye bye.